San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today, the Padres take on the Washington Nationals in the final game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Nationals, right-hander Zach Littell, and for the Padres, right-hander Griffin Canning. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside our San Diego studios. Little Padres and pancakes for you on a Sunday morning. First pitch coming up at 10:35 a.m. here on the West Coast. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. You'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. You'll hear from today's starting pitcher, Griffin Canning. We'll check in with Jesse Agler in just a little bit from Washington, D.C., and much, much more. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres enter today's game 32-25. They began this road trip in the midst of a 4-game losing streak, coming off a 3-6 homestand against the Dodgers, A's, and Phillies. Nationals, meanwhile, entered today 30-29. Nationals entered this series having just won 4 of 6 on a road trip to Atlanta and Cleveland. Nationals have struggled at home so far this season. They are just 11-17 in D.C. Well, the Padres won on Friday night, a big go-ahead 2-run home run from Jackson Merrill. We had the middle game of this series yesterday. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
In the second inning yesterday, Xander Bogaerts got on the board.
3-1. Bogart swings, sends it in the air to right center field. Cruz racing back into the gap at the wall, looking up. This one gonna go. Xander Bogaerts into right center. His 8th home run of the season, and over the tall wall here in D.C. The Padres go ahead 1-0, and another home run allowed by Foster Griffin.
The game was tied at 1 in the 4th inning. Manny Machado led off.
Manny hits this one in the air, deep down the left field line, hooking towards the pole and off the screen, a home run. Manny Machado with his 10th of the year, and the Padres go back ahead. It's 2-1.
In the top of the 5th inning, it was finally the moment for Fernando Tatis Jr.
Fernando swings, hits it in the air, deep to left field. This one way back and gone. The seal has been broken, and Fernando Tatis Jr. on May 30th has hit his first home run of the season.
Padres led 3-1 going to the bottom half of the 7th inning. To that point, Michael King had allowed just 1 run on 64 pitches, but then King got in major trouble. A leadoff single, an infield single, a walk, a hit by pitch to force in a run. Bases still loaded with nobody out. Craig Stammen went to Bradley Rodriguez. Rodriguez got a ground ball from Drew Millis to second base. Tatis made the throw to shortstop, but the ruling at second base was that Xander Bogaerts wasn't on the second base bag when he received the throw. Everybody was safe. The Padres challenged. The call stood. Craig Stammen got ejected. Game was tied at 3. Rodriguez issued a walk to bring in the go-ahead run. Nationals took a 4-3 lead. They still had the bases loaded for Luis Garcia Jr.
2-2. The pitch to Garcia, hit on the ground sharply up the middle, into center to base hit. Cruz has scored. Millis is racing home. The throw will go to third base. It is not in time to get Meade. A 2-run single for Luis Garcia Jr., and the Washington lead is now 6-3.
Nats got another run to make it 7-3, but the Padres wouldn't go down quietly. Manny Machado hit an RBI double to make it 7-4 in the 8th inning. Padres would put the tying runs on base. They could not capitalize further. Nats would get a couple more runs in the 8th inning. Final score yesterday, Nationals 9 and the Padres 4, and that sets up the rubber game of this 3-game series with first pitch coming up at 10:35 a.m. As we get ready for this one, let's go to Nats Park in D.C.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, despite the loss yesterday, let's focus on one of the really, really great things about yesterday's game, and that was Fernando Tatis Jr. finally hitting that elusive first home run of 2026. But, Jesse, I think it goes even beyond that for Fernando as of late. He's doing a great job getting on base, collecting hits, and now if we're starting to see signs of the power, that is a really big deal for this ball club.
Yeah, I mean, if that starts to happen, then obviously things are going to get very, very good for the Padres. And, that'll be such a fascinating thing to track, right? I mean, it's very easy to sit here and be like, all right, he's going to get hot now. He's going to hit 5 homers in the next 3 days. And it's certainly within the realm of possibility. But we all know well enough that, you can't predict ball. And we've been around long enough to understand that this year in particular has been as unpredictable as any year could possibly be when it comes to the production we've seen from these kinds of guys. But I mean, it feels like it could be the start of something, but I'm not going to go out and say that necessarily. But, I mean, it really is the darndest thing, right? I mean, the guy hasn't hit a home run all year. We've talked, endlessly about how hard he's been hitting the ball, just not been able to hit it over the fence. And then he goes out, and the first one he hits is one of the longest home runs he's ever hit in his life. And it just doesn't add up. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. And it's just, it's the remarkable thing about this game that, how infrequently it does make sense. And we have so many numbers in baseball. It's such a mathematical game. And math, of course, at its core is supposed to be something that adds up. Equations, the root of the word equation is equals. And so little about baseball equals making sense. And that's part of what makes it so marvelous. And, it's just incredible. The guy, it's 451 feet over the bullpen in left center field after not hitting a home run all season long, for 2+ months. But that is, I guess, the beauty of the game. And it was a sight to behold. It really was. I'm glad he's gotten it done. Check the box. And now perhaps Fernando can get it going all the way. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think perhaps whatever, mental hurdle there was, if any, for Fernando about getting that first home run, well, that is over now, and we'll see now if it leads to more. Griffin Canning on the mound for the Padres today. Canning had by far and away his best start of the season earlier this week against the Phillies. And now, Jesse, we get to see if he can follow it up against the Nationals lineup that is pretty familiar with him, considering Canning faced the Nats a couple of times last season with the Mets.
Yeah, one really good one, 5 shutout innings here in April, and then a little bit of a different one at Citi Field in June. So we'll see, which version shows up. Obviously, he's still trying to find some consistency and, maybe get his sea legs a little bit here as he's off to the late start coming back from the injury. But you're right, there is familiarity on both sides in terms of the Nationals hitters and in terms of Griffin Canning. I like what we've seen out of Griffin Canning. I am bullish on Griffin Canning. He did, and this is important to remember, and I think it's important to remind ourselves of, he threw the ball really, really well, generally speaking, with the Mets last year. He was 7-3 with a 3.77 ERA before the injury. And, this is a guy that, was having a quality season last year. He had kind of turned a corner in his career. He was really open-minded last season and learned some new things about himself and about pitching. Hearing some new voices with the Mets a season ago. He's sort of continuing that here with the Padres and with Ruben. And, I think the sky's the limit for Griffin Canning. He's still, a guy who's sort of developing. He's only 30 years old. I know it kind of feels like he's been around forever, but he's still sort of a work in progress. And I mean that as the ultimate compliment. And I think there's a lot more in there for Griffin Canning. So I think we're going to see some really good things out of him. But again, I do still also think we're in that period of time where he's still kind of knocking the rust off a little bit.
And then, Jesse, finally, Zach Littell on the mound for the Nats today. This is a guy the Padres have seen a lot of over the years. Remember, he was a reliever with the Giants for all of 21 and 22. Going to be interesting today to see if the Padres can take advantage of that experience against Littell.
Yeah, and the fact that he can't keep the ball in the yard this year. He's given up 15 home runs so far this season. And Padres have, done nicely with the home runs, obviously, in this series. Got a couple of them on Friday night and 3 more yesterday. The home run is always interesting, right? We've talked about that a little bit the first 2 games here. And, the solo shots for the Padres yesterday obviously were not enough when it was all said and done. But certainly a guy that is prone to giving up home runs. Padres have made the home run, I think, more and more a part of their offensive attack in the last couple of weeks. And yes, a lot of familiarity with Littell. A couple of guys who have had a lot of success against him. You know, it's funny because I always think back to the old schedule, you know, before every team started playing every team and you played a lot more games against the division. 18 relief appearances in his career against the Padres for Littell. 10 of those 18 appearances came just in 2021.
Right.
You know, that's how often the Padres and Giants used to play against one another and how often Zach Littell was used against the Padres. So certainly not a lot of mystery between Littell and the Padres, but he's coming off a really good start through 7 innings against the Guardians on Monday night in Cleveland. So we'll see how it goes here today. But yeah, he's a guy much like yesterday's starter Foster Griffin, who has had home run issues here in 2026.
All right, Jesse, good stuff. We'll talk to you and Tony Gwynn Jr. coming up at 10:25 as the Padres go for a series win. Thanks so much.
You got it, Sammy.
All right, Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Again, first pitch coming up at 10:35, and so we'll send things out to Jesse and Tony at 10:25. A lot to do on our pregame coverage, as always, with our Padres and pancakes on whether it be a weekday or a weekend morning. Today is Sunday morning. We invite you to get involved on our pregame coverage. You can let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and let me know how you're getting ready to enjoy Padres baseball on this Sunday morning. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can also comment on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel, and feel free to even send a photo. You got the coffee brewing, the pancakes on the griddle, the toast in the toaster, maybe some scrambled eggs. Maybe you're eating a donut on this Sunday. I don't judge. Maybe you're eating a donut. You're eating cereal, sugar cereal, whatever it is. Have some fun. It's a Sunday. Let me know how you're getting ready to enjoy Padres baseball as the Padres go for a series win against the Nats. So when we come back, we revisit yesterday's game a little bit more. We hear from Craig Stammen, take our first look at the Padres lineup today. A little bit later, we hear from Padres starter Griffin Canning. Much, much more to do on our pregame coverage after this.
right here, you woke with something in my head. I couldn't escape that memory of a phone call.
Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch is coming up at 10:35 a.m. in Washington, D.C. Right-hander Griffin Canning on the mound for the Padres here today. Padres winning on Friday, losing yesterday, and so we'll see if the Padres can pick up a series win. They have an off day tomorrow and then head on to Philadelphia for a 3-game series Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. As always, our pregame coverage brought to you by EcoWater SoCal, at keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. Let's hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen before today's game.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Day game after a night game, so no pregame media availability for Craig Stammen today. So let's revisit what Craig had to say after yesterday's game. Yesterday, really a frustrating day for the Padres. They led 3-1 heading into the 7th inning. That was after Bogaerts hit a solo homer. Manny hit a solo homer. Fernando finally hit a home run to make it 3-1. Michael King was absolutely rolling through 6 innings. He was at 64 pitches through 6 innings, 1 run allowed, and then things just unraveled on him in the 7th inning. A single, a walk, a hit by pitch. Bradley Rodriguez comes in. He had the call at second base that Xander Bogaerts wasn't on the bag. He had that issue. Craig Stammen gets ejected, a walk, a 2-run single, a fielder's choice, and all of a sudden it went to a 6-run bottom half of the 7th inning as the Nationals took a 7-3 lead. Game got away. Padres did have a chance late with the tying runs on base. Could not find a way to get that one big hit they needed. Let's hear from Craig after yesterday's 9-4 defeat.
Real weird 7th inning, low pitch count. He was kind of cruising. A little bit of traffic in the 6th inning, but got out of it really fast. Then gave it the hit and then walk, hit batter. Happened kind of quick, but just unraveled first there in that 7th.
What is your vantage point, or what were your thoughts, and what are they now probably seeing at the play with Xander?
Yeah, I think his foot was on the base, but they reviewed it. And, if we're going to have review, you'd like to think we'd get the call right. My eyes may be different than someone else's.
Imagine you walked out there knowing that would be your first ejection.
Yeah, that's typically if you go out on a replay review, you're getting ejected. It took them a while to send me, but did what I could. I guess I'm too nice sometimes.
On this day, there was this other glorious event that happened, and what was that like in the dugout and to watch as Fernando got a hold of one?
Yeah, it was very exciting for everybody. I felt like he's been carrying that burden. The team has been carrying that burden. He hit the one foul earlier, and everybody's hey, it's gonna come. No, Manny's joking like you'll get one of these days, and then he finally got it. It was a good celebration in the dugout. That's what baseball's all about, is acting like little 10-year-olds and fun things like that. It takes the pressure off all the attention that a guy like him gets.
You don't get too many, especially the first 5 innings. I think it was 47 pitches. Michael, maybe the sinker wasn't as good as he would want it, because he's always the problem with something, but how good was he?
He was so good. There was how many ground balls to the second baseman? It was like he was trying to get Toddy the Gold Glove today on his own, and just roll over ground balls. If they got a hit, it was a double play ball. When you're a sinker ball pitcher, that's exactly what you're looking for. And against an all left-handed lineup, I thought he hung in there really good. Just that 7th inning, felt like he was going to get another one of those ground balls and just didn't quite get it. Didn't quite get in the zone.
That first one, you feel like Toddy could have gone to first?
He could have, but you're diving, and honestly, diving that way and trying to throw to first base is pretty difficult. You just figure out a way to get it out there. We just didn't get it out, and that would have been a big out in that inning.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following the 9-4 loss yesterday in D.C. We'll hear more from Craig on our post-game coverage coming up later on this afternoon. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we get ready for today's game between the Padres and the Nationals, the rubber game of this 3-game series. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
We begin with a look at the hot category, and we've got Fernando Tatis Jr. firmly in that category today. In the midst of a 13-game on-base streak, he's batting .380 in that span with a .456 on-base percentage in those 13 games. Fernando has had multiple hits in 6 of his past 10 games, and of course, Fernando hit his first home run of the season yesterday. More on that little bit later. The not category, couple of guys in the Padres lineup today. Miguel Andujar batting just .114 in his last 35 at bats, and Andujar actually, not in the lineup today. He'll be available off the bench. And Nick Castellanos is in the lineup. He's gone 1 for his last 12. So quick look at who's hot, who's not. Fernando in the hot category, and Andujar and Castellanos in the not category. And that's a quick look at who's hot, who's not. Let's take a quick look at some headlines from around the major leagues.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
A few quick headlines for you. White Sox slugger Munetaka Murakami is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a grade 2 right hamstring strain. Murakami suffered the injury on Friday. The A's' Luis Severino was put on the IL yesterday with a strained right shoulder. And finally, last night, the Braves became the first team to 40 wins this season. They beat the Reds 5-2 in Cincinnati. A very quick look at some of the headlines from yesterday and today around the major leagues, and we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. When we come back, we hear from today's starting pitcher, Griffin Canning. We have our keys to today's game. We'll talk a little bit about the Padres defense, which I think has gone a little bit under the radar this season. They have been an excellent defensive team. We'll get into that and much, much more. First pitch coming up at 10:35 a.m. in Washington, D.C. Our pregame coverage continues after these words.
Hey, friends.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 10:35 a.m. in Washington, D.C. Final and rubber game of this 3-game series between the Padres and Nationals. Padres winning on Friday night, losing yesterday. We'll see if the Padres can pick up a series win here today before they head on to Philadelphia. Padres have an off day tomorrow and then a 3-game series in Philly Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll hear from today's starting pitcher, Griffin Canning, coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. As always, little Padres and pancakes for you on a Sunday morning. We invite you to get involved. Let us know how you're getting ready to enjoy Padres baseball. We've got Colton tuning in, and Colton always sends a video from the horse stables, and I think that's what it's called, the horse stable. And Colton is doing his work in the horse stable, cleaning, whatever Colton's doing with the horses, feeding, cleaning up, I think, is what Colton's doing. So he's tuned in from the horse stable. So how about that? Little Padres, pancakes, and horses on this Sunday morning. As always, you can get involved on social media on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can also comment on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Somebody earlier wrote me on X. They said, how about fryers and frittatas? I like that one. Fryers and frittatas. Like it. A frittata. I haven't had a good frittata in a while. Maybe we can order some frittatas in here for Kyle and I during the game. Have a little breakfast and hopefully watch and listen, of course, to a Padres win. Let's give you the updates on some of the Padres injuries heading into today.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Nothing new to report today, just a little recap on some information we've had over the last couple of days. Jake Cronenworth still on the IL with those concussion symptoms. He's been running, playing catch, taking light swings in the batting cage, remains without a definitive timetable for his return. Luis Campusano still dealing with that left big toe fracture. He's catching bullpen, swinging, doing other baseball activity, but again, no timetable yet for when he will return. And German Marquez, he threw a live BP earlier this week. He's expected to make a minor league rehab appearance soon. Marquez still on the IL with that right forearm nerve irritation. And that's a quick update on Cronenworth, Campusano, and Marquez. Obviously, the longer-term rehabs for Pivetta and Musgrove, we're keeping an eye on those as well. But those three guys are the ones right now to really keep an eye on. Matt Waldron in that conversation as well, as far as when they will return in the near future in Cronenworth, Campusano, and Marquez. And as we get more info on those guys in the week to come, we'll continue to pass it along. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We take a look at the full out-of-town scoreboard. The Orioles lead the Blue Jays 2-0 in Baltimore in the third inning. Everything else is coming up in just a little while or later on today. Twins and the Pirates in Pittsburgh at 10:35 a.m. Zebby Matthews on the mound for the Twins, and on the mound for the Pirates, Braxton Ashcraft. Angels and the Rays in Tampa Bay at 10:40. Shane McClanahan on the mound for Tampa Bay today. Braves and the Reds in Cincinnati at 10:40. Nick Lodolo against Spencer Strider, the pitching matchup there. Red Sox in Cleveland against the Guardians at 10:40. Tanner Bybee against Ranger Suarez, the pitching matchup in Cleveland. Marlins and the Mets in New York at 10:40. Nolan McLean on the mound for the Mets today. Tigers and the White Sox at 11:10 in Chicago. Brewers and the Astros in Houston at 11:10. Jacob Mizorowski on the mound for the Brew Crew today. Mizorowski has had a terrific month of May. He's 4-0 with a 0.29 ERA, 49 strikeouts in 5 starts this month. He's been absolutely terrific, so he makes his final start here on the final day of May 31st. Royals and the Rangers at 11:35 a.m. in Arlington. Jack Leiter for the Rangers, Michael Wacha for Kansas City. Giants and the Rockies at 12:10 in Colorado. Robbie Ray on the mound for San Francisco today. Yankees and the A's at 1:05 in Sacramento. Will Warren will make the start for New York today. Diamondbacks and the Mariners in Seattle at 1:10. Bryce Miller on the mound for Seattle. Merrill Kelly on the mound for Arizona. Phillies and the Dodgers in LA at 1:10. Andrew Painter on the mound for Philly. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for LA. And finally, later on today, Cubs and the Cardinals in St. Louis at 4:20. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. Much more on all those games coming up a little bit later during our post-game coverage. Well, we'll talk about Griffin Canning more during our Keys to the Game segment in just a little bit. Canning coming off a really good start earlier this week against the Phillies. He did a really nice job. 6+ strong innings. Again, we'll talk about it a little bit more in a second. But here was Canning on how he can build from that last start.
I think it's just about going back and seeing kind of what had worked for me that last start. But I feel like I'm throwing a lot of new pitches, so still just kind of figuring out how I want to use them all and talking with guys, talking with Michael, talking with Joe Walker, all these guys, Nick, just what they're seeing, and then obviously Ruben and some of these other guys, just kind of seeing how I can best attack guys and get quick outs.
So we'll see if Griffin Canning can build off that really nice last start. Canning, of course, pitching the final game of this 3-game series against the Nationals. Here was Canning on how helpful it is to pitch the 3rd game of a series and be able to see how his teammates have attacked this Nationals lineup.
Yeah, for sure. I think you want to see how the first couple guys go out and attack guys, see what's working, and obviously know that they're probably going to come into the game knowing how we've attacked them the last couple of days. Talking to a guy like Michael has been super invaluable. He does so much homework before he goes into the game, and then obviously after I've been pitching after him, so just kind of picking his brain on what he's seeing with these hitters has been super helpful.
That was Griffin Canning about pitching the 3rd game of a series. Here was Griffin Canning on working with Ruben Niebla so far.
I mean, obviously, I think Ruben has a really good track record with the guys that have come through here. But yeah, he's been extremely helpful. I like how honest he is. He's not going to sugarcoat things. So, I feel like you kind of respond to that best. He has his best interest, your best interest. Just still learning and growing with him and figuring things out. But yeah, it's been super awesome to work with him so far.
That was today's starting pitcher, Griffin Canning. He takes the mound opposite right-hander Zach Littell on the mound for the Nationals today. Nationals come in 30-29, Padres at 32-25 as we wait for the rubber game of this 3-game series. First pitch coming up at 10:35. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number 1, more Tati. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit his first home run of the season yesterday. Exit velocity of 114 miles per hour, his fastest exit velo of the season. The home run traveled 451 feet, his longest home run since September of 2021. Tatis has 3 straight games with multiple hits and 5 multi-hit performances in his last 6 games. His last 6 games, Tatis is batting .520. Anyway, you slice it. You look at the past couple of weeks, Fernando Tatis Jr. has been really productive at the plate. And now, if you're telling me the power is going to start to come, well, look out. Now we're really talking with Fernando Tatis Jr. Will that be the scenario here today? We're going to find out. Key number 2, a Canning encore. Griffin Canning had by far and away his best start of the season earlier this week against the Phillies. 6 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs given up, 3 hits. The only issue was 2 of the 3 hits were home runs. Canning faced this Nationals team twice last season with the Mets. One outing, really, really good. 5 innings, no runs given up. The other outing, 5 innings and a third, 4 runs allowed, 7 hits. Canning allowed a home run to C.J. Abrams in that game. In fact, Abrams has given Canning a lot of trouble. He's 4 for 8 against Canning in his career with 2 doubles and a home run. So that's something to keep an eye on today. All 4 home runs that Canning has allowed have come to left-handed hitters. So again, keep that in mind when he faces guys like Abrams and James Wood today. And speaking of Wood and Abrams in particular, Padres have done a good job at limiting their impact in this series. Wood is only 1 for 8 with a single. Abrams also just 1 hit in this series, a single. So can Canning and the Padres bullpen continue to limit Wood and Abrams? Can Griffin Canning indeed build on that really nice start against the Phillies? That's key number 2. Key number 3. Slow down the national catching tandem. Keibert Ruiz hit a home run for the Nats on Friday. Drew Millis hit one out yesterday. That pair has been, how about this, the most productive offensive catching tandem in Major League Baseball for most of this month. Since May 6th, they combined lead all Major League catcher groups in home runs, RBIs, slugging, OPS, batting average, and hits. How about that? Millis and Ruiz. Ruiz is doing the catching for the Nationals today. He's batting .400 with 4 home runs, 16 RBIs in his last 12 games. Nats have him at the bottom of the lineup today in the number 9 spot, but don't sleep on Ruiz. He's having a really, really nice run and obviously had the home run on Friday as well. And key number 4, launch against Littell. The Padres have seen Nationals right-hander Zach Littell a lot over the years. Remember, he was a reliever with the Giants for all of 2021 and 2022. Xander Bogaerts, 2 for 5 against him in his career. Nick Castellanos, 2 for 4 with a home run. Ty France, 3 for 12 with a home run. Manny Machado, 4 for 12. Gavin Sheets, 3 for 9. So the question today is, can the Padres take advantage of that experience against the Nats starting pitcher today? He's coming off his best start of the season, 7 innings and 1 run given up in Cleveland earlier this week. And Jesse mentioned this a little bit earlier. It's really true. Littell has had a really hard time keeping the ball in the yard this season. He's given up 15 home runs in just 53 plus innings. So again, can the Padres and some of these power right-handed bats take advantage against Zach Littell? And that's a look at our keys to today's game. When we come back, we'll talk about the Padres defense, how good that has been as of late. Some other notes for you as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 10:35 a.m. in Washington, D.C. We send things out to Jesse and Tony. In just about 10 minutes, they'll have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. Our pregame coverage from inside our San Diego studios continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres radio network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch is coming up at 10:35 a.m. in Washington, D.C. at Nationals Park. We send things out to Jesse and Tony in under 7 minutes. Hope you're having a great Sunday morning. Padres trying to take the rubber game of this 3-game series between the Padres and Nationals before they head on to Philadelphia. A couple of notes for you before we get back into a Padres-related topic here. A couple of notes. Curtis Mead, who is back in the lineup for the Nationals today, has had a good series. He's hitting .346 with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs in his last 7 games. So he's a guy towards the top of the Nationals order to keep an eye on. Another element to keep an eye on in this matchup for Griffin Canning. Couple of things here. Canning has struggled when he's had runners in scoring position against him in particular. Opponents are hitting .444 in 22 plate appearances this season against Canning with RISP. The 1434 opponent OPS is actually second highest in the majors, with a minimum of 20 batters faced with runners in scoring position. So I bring that up to say the one thing that Canning has not done a great job of this year is that when he gets in trouble, he has not been great at finding a way out of it. And another thing to keep in mind with Canning today, a lot of lefties in the lineup for Washington, 6 lefties, including switch hitting catcher Keibert Ruiz at the bottom of the lineup. Lefties have a .918 OPS against Canning this season. Righties are at .627. So again, I'm not trying to get doom and gloom on you here or anything like that, but I am pointing out lefties, they've had success against Canning. Canning's had a little bit of trouble maneuvering through situations with runners on base. We'll see if Griffin Canning can do a little bit better job of that here today. Like we've said, Canning coming off a really, really good start against the Phillies when he went 6 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs given up. And remember, 2 of those runs came on a very late home run in that outing. So Griffin Canning trying to build off that start against the Phillies as he takes on another National League East opponent in the Washington Nationals. First pitch coming up at 10:35 a.m. in D.C. Let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
You know, one thing that has really, in my opinion, gone under the radar for the Padres this season has been the Padre defense. This Padre defense has been really, really good, especially when you consider they, for the most part, have taken their platinum glover in right field and put him at second base. But how about this? The Padres have the best fielding rate among all teams in the major leagues this season, a fielding percentage of .991, 18 errors as a team on the season, now 57 games in. Padres are the only remaining team in baseball to have made fewer than 20 errors this season. And I bring this up in particular today because for a rare time yesterday, we saw the Padres defense get just a little bit shaky. Now, maybe you want to tell me Xander Bogaerts was touching the second base bag yesterday. Maybe that call should have been overturned, could have changed how that inning ultimately went yesterday, but it was a little shaky in that 7th inning yesterday. Just kind of magnifies how otherwise the Padres offense has been absolutely terrific this season. So we'll see if the Padres can get back to their great defensive ways here today. Today is a Military Sunday. It's brought to you by our San Diego County Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Let's set the table one more time for you on this Sunday. The Padres enter today's game at 32-25. Nationals at 30-29. Padres winning on Friday night. A big go-ahead 2-run home run from Jackson Merrill. Padres winning at 7-5. Padres had a 3-1 lead heading into the 7th inning yesterday. Could not find a way to hold on, and it sets up the rubber game of this 3-game set. When we come back, we send things out to Washington, D.C. Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. standing by and ready to go. They'll have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Padres fans, before